everybody. It's Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you for a brief moment this morning. I just want to share something with you that will hopefully assist you in not only getting through your day, but in adjusting the manner in which you move in life on a more holistic level that will overall change your effectiveness in life. There are seven universal laws, and when I say laws, these laws govern everything that happens in this universe. And the term law simply means that when a specific thing is done within the confines of a specific law, you get the same results every time. When you operate by understanding and using the seven universal laws to your benefit, you stop getting inconsistent results. You know, you have some people who rarely ever experience success. You have others who experience success in sporadic nature. And then you have those that, while they have their ups and downs, the vast majority of their life spells success. And again, success is not never failing. Success is progressing along a continuum towards the things you find valuable and worthy of your energy and effort. Whatever you invest your energy and effort in achieving and becoming, as you move along that continuum of constant progress, which sometimes means you take a few steps backwards. But over the course of when you look at it from a wide scope, over a period of time, you've progressed. Well, that's success. Now, you'll look at some people and there's this consistent train of success. That's because they are operating by specific principles that are governed by the seven universal laws, the first of which, and cannot be circumvented or avoided, is mentalism. And everything in the universe is energy. Everything operates on a frequency and a vibration, and that vibration is controlled by a level of consciousness and an understanding and awareness. Depending on your level of consciousness and understanding and your ability to move and how you see the world around you and how you engage the world and how you see yourself in the world, will determine how the world responds to you. If you see yourself as a victim, that means you operate in a manner and your behavior is reflective of the fact that you think everything is happening to you, that you don't have any control over it. And so you're always just sitting, waiting for something to happen. And the more things happen that are not in alignment of the things you desire and want, the more you complain, the more you become a victim, the more you start to blame things outside of your control. Unfortunately, that tends to just consistently and more intensively add to the things you don't like and you don't want. In other words, how you think will determine what you become. As a man thinketh, so is he. You are what you think. You can go in there so many different ways. This has been said in so many different religions, faiths, principles, philosophies, on down the line. And it has always been true, and it's just simply been expressed by different people at different times in different ways. But the universe, from the point of its inception, its creation, when the grand designer, the Almighty, brought it into existence at whatever time in infinity past or eternity past that it's happened, it was designed to be responsive to the energy of thought above all else. Now, energy moves energy, and energy resonates with like energy. In other words, the energy you create with your thoughts will attract things that produce the same frequency. And so, you know, I see a lot of people work consistently against themselves through their thoughts. Here's what I mean. There's a reality that you're attempting to avoid or you're attempting to escape, but you spend so much time thinking about that reality whether negatively or positively. Most people think, well, if I'm thinking I don't want it, I'm working against it. No, you can't use your conscious mind to work against your subconscious realities. You only reinforce them. In other words, when you invest a great deal of your conscious thought in what's going wrong, first of all, is actually coming from your subconscious realities of what your subconscious belief systems, your subconscious ideas and memories are producing instinctively in your behavior. In other words, you have a subconscious mind or a non-conscious brain that is actually processing up to 4 billion bits of information at any 1 second. You're only even remotely aware of 2,000 of them, and probably keenly cognizant of less than 100 at any given second. Now you tell me what's controlling your behavior. Most people think, well, if I can think it, what you're thinking consciously is actually being dictated primarily about what's going on subconsciously. So whatever you allow to seep into your subconscious is going to govern your behavior. Here's the problem. You can't control what has already been seen. In other words, your subconscious mind and your non-conscious brain has the ability to pick up things in line of sight you didn't personally see consciously. That's the power of the subconscious brain. It sees things, picks up things that you don't hear consciously, subconsciously, something that totally went by you. Your non-conscious brain, your subconscious mind did not miss it. It picked it up. And what you are constantly and most prevalently feeding your subconscious or your non-conscious brain is what's going to be dominant in your behavior. Your subconscious is controlling your behavior. The vast majority of moves, decisions, and operations and behaviors that you create are built upon what the subconscious mind of the non-conscious brain produces. And the way that you change that is by changing your rituals, changing the things you do consistently every day that feed your subconscious mind. See, we want the mystical. And a lot of us gravitate towards specific religions looking for the mystical, looking for the magic. And we don't understand that at the very core, in their most purest form, no matter what religion you're talking about, at their most purest form, it has never been about mysticism. It has never been about magic. It has been about applying oneself holistically and creating an environment that is conducive to do what you want to do. You were given dominion, you were given control, you were given the front row seat and the highest place in the lineup of living beings in this universe that we are aware of. And that means that we are the only species as humans that have the capacity to observe our environment, observe our situations, observe our circumstances and our current reality and change it. We're the only ones that can sit up and say, I don't like where I'm at now, I'm going to change it. I don't like what's happening now, I'm going to change it. I'm going to literally create a different reality. Now, it doesn't happen from wishing. It doesn't happen through mysticism and miracles. That sitting around and waiting for something miraculous to happen is actually not how miracles are created. When you look at a miracle, all a miracle is the event in which someone was so focused in the use of their own mentality and the focus of their own faith or belief system to focus energy at such a level and such a capacity that they move a mountain. See, nothing is impossible except the things that you perceive being impossible. The only limits you have on your life are the limits that you have accepted with your mind. It is when you are able to literally peel back the limiting beliefs and replace those beliefs with beliefs that says, if I can conceive it, I can achieve it, I can do it, whatever little corny phrase that's out there now that actually works, whatever it is. But whatever you do, you cannot work against yourself. What I mean when I say work against yourself, I mean that when you're sitting up and you've got all these limiting beliefs that are functioning at a level in your subconscious, that are literally driving your non-conscious behaviors, your instinctive behaviors, your habits, your rituals, the things you do every day without even thinking, that are actually reinforcing negative ideas, negative thoughts, negative behaviors. You see the cycle? But the things that's driving it right now are those limiting beliefs. You don't change. You don't change the reality by using your conscious mind to combat your subconscious reality. You have to go into your subconscious and reprogram it. You have to literally go into your subconscious and change the ideas associated with specific memories. The memories are simply a capture of a moment in time and the interpretation that was given to that moment. I often use the explanation of the dog. If you had a bad experience with a dog as a little bitty kid, and from that point on, you develop the idea that dogs were dangerous. That idea, that capture and that moment in time and the interpretation that you gave to it now dictates how you deal with every encounter you have with a dog. And if you want to change that behavior, if you want to stop being afraid of dogs, if you want to stop going into panic attacks with dogs, it's not even about saying I want a dog as a pet. It's about getting rid of the negative feelings you get when you are forced into an environment in which a dog exists, because you're going to have all types of situations like that in your life. And it won't always be a dog. It may be a person that wears a certain color. It may be, you'll be surprised at what your mind is able to associate with certain feelings. There's something that if you had a boss who happened to have, or a teacher when you were a child who happened to wear pink all the time, and they were mean and they mistreated you and they talked low to you and they made you feel inferior, you'll find that even though you probably haven't made the corresponding alignment of why, you'll find that when you're dealing with someone that's wearing pink, you're more docile, you're more withdrawn, you're more anxious, you're ready to really leave, and you can't even explain why. It's that your subconscious mind sees the pink, and it's always associated the pink with the negative feelings that the teacher gave you when you were in third grade. And because you never dealt with it, you never overcame it, you never dissociated pink from the negativity, it's now embedded in your conscious. And the only way to change the anxiety you have when you're around pink, a person in pink, is to go back and deal with that reality. Go back and reinterpret it. Go back and say it wasn't the pink, it was the person. Go back, and then when you do that, you create a new synaptic connection in your brain, a neurological synaptic connection in your brain that creates a new idea and a new memory at this moment in time. Now, every time you see or think about pink, you visit the new memory, never entertaining the old one until you starve it. You have to starve that negativity. You have to starve it out. You have to quit. You have to say, you know what, that's not it. It's not it. And when you find yourself thinking away, immediately counter it with the new memory, the new interpretation, until that new interpretation for maybe 30 days. Just wake up every day and talk about how pink is not the problem, how it was that person, or how that encounter with the dog was actually just very playful and was a little big and kind of knocked you over. It wasn't trying to harm you. Reassert that now over time, over the next 30 days of you consistently feeding the new memory and the new interpretation of the reality, you're now setting a new paradigm of how you're going to view dogs moving forward, how you're going to view pink moving forward, how you're going to move the challenge of poverty and lack and the idea of all these things that are pushing you back into this little place. You can sit up and retrain your mind to think it, but if you don't develop rituals, if you don't go back and deal with those ideas that created the belief system that's limiting you, you're never going to change. You can sit up all day long and think you can think your way out of something, but if you're totally focused on it, you're actually perpetuating it. You can sit up and say, man, I don't want to be poor, but if all you're thinking about is I don't want to be poor, or I don't want to be unhappy in this relationship, or I don't want my marriage to fail, or I don't want to do this, guess what you're doing? The thought of what you don't want and the consistent entertainment of it is pushing you in a place in the law of polarity, which is the fourth of the universal laws, which says that there's always an equal opposite. And actually in the law of polarity, what the law of polarity is saying is not that it's just an opposite. What you find in the law of polarity is that the things that we normally consider opposites are actually the same thing on a varying degree, the two extremes of the same thing. In other words, if you the hot and cold, 105 degrees, 30 degrees, they're not opposites. They're varying degrees of the same thing. Same thing with love and hate. Same thing with lack and abundance. Same thing with all these things. They all exist on the same plane. They're two extremes on the two opposite ends. Well, how do I get from the end of hate to love? How do I get from fear to courage? How do I get from poverty to wealth? You have to change the frequency. Everything operates on a vibration, and it gravitates and resonates towards the vibration and frequency that it's operating on. You can't attract anything that's not on the current frequency. Every vibration has a frequency, which is an emittance of energy, and it will only attract the frequency of its emittance. So if you're thinking negatively all the time, you will always find yourself in negative situations. If you're thinking about lack all the time, you will consistently find yourself observing lack in your life. Why? Because there's always opportunity to see lack. If a millionaire starts to focus his mind on lack, I'm gonna show you how it's relative. If a millionaire begins to focus his mind on lack, he will begin to see lack in his life. And most people are looking at him and seeing abundance, but because he's focusing on lack, the mind, the brain is a servo mechanism. What you focus on most, it finds. It finds in abundance. So if you are consistently looking at lack in your life, you will consistently see it. If you're consistently talking about lack in your life, you will consistently find it. I don't care how much you have. I don't care how wonderful your life is. If you lose yourself for a moment and you get focused on what you don't have or the lack, you will begin a process that will start to build where you will find more and more lack. More, if you're focusing on misery, you'll find more and more misery. If you're focusing on the problems in your marriage to the point, that's what you think about, you'll find more and more problems. It's the shifting of the vibration that produces the reality. So if I want to get from hatred to love, I've got to start embracing and talking about love, thinking about love, finding ways to love myself, looking at all the reasons there are to be happy with who I am. And it starts from there and creates an energy, starts to attract other people who start to want to be around you because the energy you're emitting, it makes them feel good. And then they start to pour the same energy back out on you, and you start to feel love. And then you start to raise that level of expectation of that feeling, and you emit more positive energy, raising your frequency, raising your vibration, attracting more of the same, and feeling better about yourself. What you think and how you engage in the law of polarities is going to shift when your vibration shifts. If you're constantly focusing on something, I don't care if you're saying, I don't want it, I don't want it. You keep on talking about it, you keep on thinking about it, you're going to have it, you're going to produce it, and it's going to expand it. That's where that whole idea of faith having the ability to call things that are not as though they were. What do you mean? If you've dealt with anybody that has experienced success consistently in life, and you talk to them, they have the capacity to call things that are not as though they were. And I'm not talking mystically, I'm talking about they have a capacity to not be so entrenched in their current moment that they can't see what's beyond the battle. See, when people ask me all the time, when they see me and they know I'm going through something, but I've got a smile on myself, I'm focused, and everything I say is what I'm seeing in front of me and expecting from my life, not about what I'm going through. Man, you're in denial. No, I'm not in denial. I saw it, I assessed it, and I decided I didn't like it. And what happens when you have ability to control how you feel and how you view life? You have something inside of yourself, inside of your very spirit, that will set your reality. You know, and I don't care what religion you're in. Let's talk about probably the most popular religion in America and around the world, even though Islam is making a major move on it. Let's talk about Christianity. It says that the spirit bears witness. with your spirit. So we're talking about the spirit of the universe, or the intelligence and infinite intelligence, infinite power, the Almighty, the spirit of the universe, the energy of the universe bears witness to your spirit, the energy that you emit of your reality. Now, what does that mean? That means when you become one with the spirit of the universe, when you become one with God, when you become one with the Almighty, when you accept the fact that you have been given authority to speak into existence things that don't readily exist, then you start to see your reality different. Now, guess what happens? The spirit of the universe speaks to your spirit, bears witness to your spirit through the energy that you receive back from the energy you emit. Now, check this out. This is why I can be in a rough situation and still be smiling. I'm not in denial. I'm not pretending it's not happening. And that's why I can be talking about something as if I'm already there, or I've already achieved it, or already experienced it, because I'm already living in it. Why? Because the spirit bears witness of what I'm becoming and what I shall become, not only where I'm at. Where I'm at is momentarily, where I'm at is temporary. But check this out. This is what happens when the spirit bears witness. When you have a spirit that is in tune with the energy of the universe, with the infinite intelligence of God, and you sit up and you start to abide by the universal law, saying that I have capacity and control to move the things in my life. See, this is what moving mountains is about. So I have this capacity. Guess what happens? You can be in a circumstance. You can be in a situation. That situation, in one capacity, in your conscious mind, you look at that situation and you say, you know what? That's real. This is real. I'm literally dealing with this. And if I don't do something about it, it's going to have a negative impact. But you know what? I see the circumstance. I literally see it. I acknowledge that it's there. But there's something in my spirit that disagrees with it. It says, while it's here now, it's not my destiny. It's not my future. It's not what I'm going to be. So I'm not going to allow it to become the big part of my life. I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to focus on what I'm becoming. I'm going to focus on where I'm going. I'm going to focus on what's possible. I'm going to look at the situation, but I'm listening to my spirit. And it's something when you have a spirit that's so in tune with the capacity provided to you by the Almighty that you have now the power to disagree. Your spirit disagrees with your circumstances. When your spirit literally sits up and says, I see it, I know it's there, but my destiny, my purpose, my why is bigger. The power I have to change it is stronger. And I decide that I'm going to live in my destiny. And I tell people all the time, I'm operating in the present, but I'm living in my destiny. I'm literally spending more time living in a place I haven't reached yet than I am in sitting up and getting caught up in a moment that will strangle the very life out of my spirit if I allow it. That's where people get consumed with fear. People get consumed with anxiety. People get consumed with uncertainty because they spend so much time into something they don't have control over that they lose the fact that they have the control to change everything around it. There are certain people that are going to move against you, but you are not subjected to their will over your life until you make yourself subjective to how they feel about you, what they think about you, what they say about you, who they're telling your business to, and all this other stuff. When you truly function in the nature of who you are as a person and the purpose associated with your design, and you say, I'm going to live life at the level of my design, and I'm not going to be inhibited, stopped, or redirected by anything. There's absolutely no force in this world that can stop you. None. You are your own worst enemy. When you change your rituals of thought, when you change your rituals of interpretation and perception, when you literally sit up and create these things you do so consistently that they build this powerful force of energy that demands that the universe respond to it. That's what the universe does. You know, wherever you're at and wherever your spirituality level is at, whatever you claim, you have the power to literally believe something at a certain level that you can literally speak it into existence. I'm not talking about magic. I'm not talking about mysticism. I'm not saying that I'm going to be a millionaire and you walk and call your bank and you got $1,000,000. No, what I'm sitting up saying is that if you set the course of your life and you believe with the certainty that what you have set your course for, you have a right to have it, you have the capacity to get it, and that you're going to have it, the universe starts to conspire with you. It literally starts to put people in front of you that weren't there, or to open up your mind and your perception to realize people that have been there all the time have the tools and resources you need to get where you're going. So you don't get there by yourself. I never bought into that self-made thing. I'm a self-made man. I'm a self-made millionaire. No, you may have put a lot of grind and work in, but it was some things, some providence that the universe brought to you, some ideas that were in a book, some people that dropped you some knowledge, some people that connected you with your network that you're working with now. That's what happens when you set your mind. I'm talking about totally committed to it. Sitting up and saying, I don't even know how, but I'm going to. I don't know how, but I'm going to. And you set your mind and you start to believe it, you'll start to find that providence is working underneath the surface. Things that you don't even see happening are happening. So you're laying your foundation brick by brick. You're building your edifice, your structure, your home, whatever. You're building it brick by brick. It's not this thing that's going to appear magically. It's this thing that one day you're going to look up a year from now, 2 years from now, and you're going to be so far from where you started when you set out to achieve this goal. You're going to look back and go, wow. And you're going to look back while you're taking the journey and you're going to see the progress. You're going to say, man, I still got a long way to go. But when you look back, have you ever walked somewhere and it's in a straight enough line that you can see where you're going and you can also see where you came from? But it's long enough that you're getting kind of tired of making the journey and you're walking. I've had a car run out of gas on a highway, and I've had this happen. And you're looking, you go, my God, is it getting any closer? And the actual way that you find out that you're making progress isn't that you can see that you're closer to the goal. It's when you look back and see how far you've come from. And then you get the energy and the commitment again that I can do it. Sometimes you gotta give yourself a moment and permission to take a moment of celebration for the journey you've taken to this point. Give yourself some time to be happy about the fact that you're not where you used to be. Sometimes we beat ourselves up so much because we're not where we feel we should be, that we don't appreciate and develop a sense of gratitude about where we've come to. And when you lose the capacity for gratitude, you lose the capacity for progression. There's nothing in this life you cannot achieve that is of worth, that is of value. And the greater intent you have for what you're trying to achieve, the greater capacity you have to achieve it. In other words, if your desire for wealth is solely to serve yourself, you'll still get there because the universal laws, if you know how to operate and move with them, will get you there. But when you make up in your mind that what you want wealth for is to be more impactful, that you're going to touch lives, that you're going to use it to travel to different places and share love and share hope and share inspiration and share knowledge, that you're going to go into communities where people are losing hope at such a rapid pace and you're going to speak life into their existence, you will be surprised at how much more quicker the universe responds to your desires. You've got to really find the center of yourself and connect the center of yourself with the center of the universe. Oh man, it goes so much deeper than that. But at the end of the day, you're what you think. Not so much consciously. Your conscious thoughts simply dictate to your subconscious mind what you find important and prevalent at any given time. And it will filter out and find everything associated with it and build new realities based on it. So if you sit up and you've got a bad thought in your mind, you're telling your subconscious mind through the reticular activating system that, hey, this is what I'm about right now. And it's going to go out and find all that negativity that's associated with that negative thought and actually capture it. Now you're not just battling the negative thought, you're battling everything that you brought into your gates through that thought. And people are wondering how you're consistently creating your reality by telling your mind that that's the reality that you want. Your subconscious mind that that's the reality you want. Not by saying it, but by consistently focusing on it. If that's not the reality you want, acknowledge that it's there, then set it to the side and focus on the reality you want. Let the reality you want take up the vast majority of the time. Create the images. The clearer the image, the more powerful the impression. Subconscious archetypal programming is one of the most powerful tools for teaching and implanting belief systems. The images that you put into a person's mind and the interpretations associated with those images are so powerful. Find a way to find the images of the things that you want out of life. I do vision boards. I create vision boards and I look at them every day I see them. And then I sit up and I look and I see the universe working. I learned how to understand and watch the universe move. So I don't have to have it manifest all at once for me. I've developed this unbelievable patience with the universe. See, I can understand that because I'm placing such a great demand on the universe, because the seeds I'm planting have a very long gestation period. I've got to be okay with experiencing life along the continuum and celebrating that as well, because I know it's going to take some time to get me where I'm going, but I refuse to dwarf my goals and have colorless dreams and visions. I refuse to sit up and shrink back into a place that makes other people comfortable and other people more able to rationalize and come up with logical reasonings of what I'm doing and say, well, yeah, I can see what you're doing. That's more, that's more understandable. That's more, yeah, you can get that done. If I tell people what my vision is, and the vast majority of them say, I can see that, I'm already back in the office and okay, I definitely didn't stretch myself on that one. It's not until I say something, people look at me like this, really? That's when I know I'm out of my comfort zone because I got everybody else out of theirs. And if you walk in a room and your presence doesn't make a person slightly uncomfortable, you're not stretching yourself, because you should stretch yourself so much that when you walk in a room, the energy you emit immediately makes people uncomfortable with their mediocrity. Your presence should convict mediocrity. And mediocrity has nothing to do with where you are now. Mediocrity has everything to do with how you view it. If you're okay with being where everybody else is, that's mediocrity to me. If you're passing through it and your goal is to raise your level of existence, then you're on a progressive continuum to greatness. Therefore, you're great. Perception. Anyway, I absolutely adore you guys. I love you guys. For those who aren't aware, I am currently hammering out book number 20, which is Critical Mass, the comprehensive guide to living life at the level of your design. You can pre-order that book now, get it at a discounted price, and also get the interactive ebook for free. That link is in the description box of the video or the post here on Facebook. And also there's a link there for the Power of Paradigms course, which is a way to show you how to change an existing paradigm that's inhibiting you, a view of the world and how you see the world, the lens through which you view the world that establish your limiting beliefs, how to shift that paradigm. In as little as 7 days, between 7 and 30 days, you can do some unbelievable things that will completely change your life forever. And it's all within your control. I don't care who you are, where you come from, your background, your belief system, your level of poverty, your socioeconomic status, your political status. It does not matter. When you have the understanding of the laws of how the mind works, how the body responds, how the universe responds, how everything is connected. The law of correspondence, everything is connected. Everything is connected. There is no such thing as, we compartmentalize so much that we think that our mental health has no impact on our physical health, and our physical health and mental health have no impact on our spiritual health. When you find complete, total equilibrium, meaning that you are in harmony, spirit, mind, body, and one with the universe, you will find that you have an immensely unbridled power to shift realities. but you've got to be willing to create that for yourself. It's awesome sharing with you guys. I got to jump off of here. It's almost time for me to make a move, but I absolutely adore talking to you guys. You guys are awesome. Keep your head up, stay focused. Greatness, something my grandfather said, when you truly understand how life works and you allow your challenges to shape you and develop you, he told me, son, you won't have to chase greatness. Greatness will overtake you. And I truly believe that. I believe that when you start to really understand who you are and you allow the moments you go through to strengthen you instead of break you, you begin to look at problems as challenges and engage them with an understanding that when I come out of this, I'm going to be better than what I was when I went in. Greatness will overtake you. You won't have to chase it. It will consume you. That's it. I'm out. Talk to you guys later. Peace.